before we start the video, I know what you're all thinking. Wow, Nick, an MG42? Really? Do you have a life, like, at all? And the answer to that is no. No, I'm just kidding. But, I actually made this gun, back a while ago, and the reason why I didn't really make a video wasn't because I was too lazy or whatever, but there's some negative emotional ties to this gun. Not just because it was hard to build or anything, because my dog was having some back problems, and we had to put him down, so that was a real tough time. And so I built this gun during that time in which he was sick, and during the time before we had to put him down, and to take my mind off of it, because I really loved him, and it was a tough time. So if you guys didn't know and who are fans, Chip was the one who had the back problems, and we had to put him down. So it was rough, but this gun was a product of it. So I guess there was something positive that came out of it. So without anything else, here it is. And the reason why I'm way back here is because this thing is freaking massive. Okay, so the front sight is kind of messed up, and I made this a long time ago, probably months. Yeah, it's been months. So it's degraded a little bit. I tried to fix it up a little bit, but I did the best I could. So if we could straighten out that sight, that'd be fantastic. But you can see that basically the front, like, little flash hider thing, or whatever you like, the cone right here, and then it has the little pieces of paper I put over there to make it look, a little bit more realistic, like it actually has like the threads on it and stuff. Bipod looks pretty good for the most part, and the most impressive thing for me about this gun is the fact that it has the actual outside is perforated with all of these holes. You can see that it's on the top, this side, the bottom. Well, okay, maybe not the bottom, but it's supposed to have it on the bottom. But we'll just pretend that they're there. But on both sides, and it was because he was actually air cooled. The Germans, I think Mauser might have been the ones who made this. I think maybe, but they had the idea of air cooling it, but they still had to quick change the barrel. So instead of having it be perforated like on the top and the other side, they actually had this whole thing was empty, or I guess it was. It basically was open the whole way. So this bar wasn't here, but that's to add for the stability for it, because literally it's only 4 thin tubes going across the whole thing with a square ring, if you want to call it that, supporting it. So then I guess moving down after that, the rear sight looks pretty good. It goes up and down. It has a little dealy there which you can move up and down, and then you can see that back here, and we move on to the flip up thing. I don't know what you call that, whatever it is, but machine guns have them, and then this way you would open this up, and that would expose the actual firing mechanism, and then you'd put the shells in there, and then they would feed through and eventually mow down some people. And so yep, then that closed, so cool. And moving down, you see the charging handle isn't very detailed. It's just kind of like a square, but it does work. I can show it kinda. I mean, I can see it for sure, but it moves back and forth, and then it cycles the bolt back and forth. And then the grip here, kinda, not very. What do I call it? Not very ergonomic, not very accurate to what it actually is. But then again, I guess I was kind of distracted when I made this, so I wasn't really doing my best. It was just something to do. And then of course the stock actually doesn't look half bad. It was kind of hard to get the shape, and then the blow tube built in right there at the end. So I'm going to try and back up so you guys can actually see the whole thing in its entirety, because there we go. Yeah, because this thing is a monster. It's huge. I'm not going to say it's the longest thing, because I think the L96 that I made for the tutorial was definitely the longest thing I've ever made, but it was also very thin at some parts. So this is the angle that I like it. Chain of bullets there. You got the bipod, you got the one side that's like really nicely perforated, and then it just looks really nice from this angle, I think. So I'm just going to leave it here for a sec so you guys can look. Awesome gun. I mean, the real thing is obviously awesome. This is pretty awesome, and I'm not gonna say it's the best one the best gun I've ever made, nor is it the best paper MG42, however many are out there in the world. But it is something to be proud of, because I definitely accomplish what I went on to do by making this, because this was way harder than you think. I mean, think about it, just 4 thin tubes supporting the whole half of this gun. So it was very hard. And yeah, so moving on to the sights, if I can show it to you. Oh geez, that is a rough angle right there, but you can see, maybe, yep, okay, so possibly the sights, but I really don't think so. But you could see how it would work. They would look through the rear sight and then put the top thing on the front sight through it, and then that's how it would work. And then this thing does shoot. But first I want to kind of bring to your attention the whole hinge here. Now, you remember, if you ever watched my M60 video, it was literally like a rectangle, and it was very thin paper, which isn't accurate to what it is at all. This is way more accurate to what one of these would be, because it's thick. Usually they would have like wires and stuff up here that help it fire. I'm not really sure what they're there for, but when I make the M60, I'll do my best to make it as accurate as possible. And then of course there's like a little hinging thing right here, basically just a piece of paper rolled up, and then another piece of paper rolled up on the outside of it, so that it acts as like a hinge because it spins on the outside of each one, and then you basically attach wherever you want to move onto that, and then it hinges off from that, and that happens right here. So, without keeping you guys in suspense anymore, I'm gonna load just a little cone bullet in here, just right into here, close the chamber up, and then kind of funny because the last few videos I've been in my college dorm room, and now that I'm back home for the summer, the leaves are not there, but there is a dream, create, and imagine little 3 square thing that looks basically the same, so that's what we're gonna aim for. Right over there, see that? Gonna use these iron sights, gotta make the bipod nice and pretty, gotta make sure that looks great. Okay, so gotta see if you guys can see that. I think I'll move it over a little bit so you guys can see better. Alright, I gotta get way the hell back here so I can actually shoot it. Kind of a design flaw, but you know, whatever. So, here goes nothing. Yep, not, you know, it shoots, but it was also not at the right angle either, because this thing's a monstrosity, so to get it in the camera and to shoot it at those was, needless to say, an impossible task. But you can see that if this wasn't made out of paper, you could lay down some serious fire with this bad boy. Yeah, it'd be pretty crazy. And I guess I'll let you guys look at it again. It's so huge that over 90% of the video you can't even see the whole thing. And yeah, so here it is one more time. Very cool, in my opinion. And let's see, what else do I got for you guys? Oh yeah, I added something to the Thompson. It wasn't a stock, but it was something to make the magazine go in better. So let me go get that real quick. So you can see that, get this thing out of the way, and you can see here that it stays in a lot better than it did before. Basically what I did is that instead of having the 2 tubes be the supporters right here, I actually made a piece of paper that folded together on 2 sides that created sort of like a little notch for this to go in. So this actually looks a lot better than it did, because it was basically just a tube taped on there. But now you can see that I folded it a few times so that it actually creates sort of a, you can see in the camera, there you go. You can see that it sort of creates a little key, I guess, that fits into here. And then what you do is you slide it up to here, and then I also made a little notch on the top there to where it actually fits into there, and it fits way better than it did before. So there you go. And if you guys wanted to make that yourself before I came out with the tutorial, that's perfectly fine. You know me, totally unreliable when I say I'm gonna make one. So anyway, but yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed the MG42. I did spend a lot of time on it, not recently, but when I did make it. And please rate, comment, and subscribe on this video, and please watch all my other videos if you like this gun. There's a lot more where this came from in the future. So thank you for watching one more time, and please
to decide the